Today we're comparing two characters who aren't so much in the spotlight but are no less popular for it. Two characters with exactly the abilities they actually displayed in their respective stories. On one side is Dobby, the free house elf from the world of Harry Potter. On the other side is Gollum, once Smeagol, corrupted by the One Ring. If we only consider what they have demonstrably done in the books and films, who would win a theoretical duel? Let's start with their physicality. Gollum's physical abilities are well documented. In The Two Towers, he overpowers Frodo and Sam almost single-handedly. Although Sam fights back fiercely, Gollum manages to wrestle him to the ground. Later, at Mount Doom, he attacks Frodo head-on and even bites off his finger to get the ring back. This is raw, direct violence, and it works. He climbs nearly vertical rock faces in the Misty Mountains, moves silently through rocky terrain, and survives decades alone in the wilderness. His endurance, toughness, and adaptability are clearly documented. Dobby, on the other hand, shows no significant physical strength. We never see him in classic close combat. Physically, he would be clearly inferior to Gollum. But now to the magic, and this is where it gets interesting. In the Chamber of Secrets, Dobby ensures that a bludger deliberately attacks Harry during a Quidditch match. In other words, he manipulates an enchanted piece of sports equipment in mid-flight. Later, he blocks the barrier at platform 9 3/4 so that Harry and Ron cannot get to Hogwarts. This means that Dobby's magic is powerful enough to influence existing magical structures. It gets even more impressive in the Deathly Hallows. Dobby apparated in and out of the Malfoy estate several times, a place that was protected by spells for wizards. House elf magic apparently bypasses restrictions that even apply to trained magicians. This is not theoretical potential, it is proven practice. When Bellatrix Lestrange threatens Harry, Dobby disarms her and hurls her across the room. And Bellatrix is no minor character. She is one of the most dangerous witches in the entire series. The fact that Dobby can knock her off balance with a single magical movement clearly shows the level of power at work here. Gollum has nothing comparable to counter this. He has no magical abilities whatsoever. His strength lies in the physical and psychological. Gollum manipulates Frodo over long stretches of the journey. He manages to sow mistrust between Frodo and Sam. For example, in the scene with the hidden Lembas bread, which he slips to Sam. This shows strategic cunning. Gollum thinks ahead, exploits weaknesses, and plays with emotions. Dobby, on the other hand, is emotional, but not manipulative. In The Chamber of Secrets, he tries to keep Harry away from Hogwarts by drastic measures. Not out of calculation, but out of concern. His actions are impulsive but purposeful. In a direct duel, however, long-term manipulation hardly plays a role. Gollum's greatest psychological strength unfolds over time, not in an immediate confrontation. The decisive factor is the question of distance control. In the Deathly Hallows, we see that Dobby can apparate in a fraction of a second. When he is taken to the dungeon beneath the Malfoy estate, he manages to free Harry and the others and teleport them to safety at the last second. Even under stress, he reacts immediately. Applied to a duel, this means that even if Gollum attacks, head-on or from ambush, Dobby has the proven ability to vanish in a split second. Gollum's fastest attack, as seen at Mount Doom, is a direct physical leap. This works against a hobbit. Against someone who can teleport instantly, it is unreliable. Gollum's fastest attack, as seen at Mount Doom, is a direct physical leap. This works against a hobbit. Against someone who can teleport instantly, it is unreliable. Another example of Dobby's offensive magic is the scene at the end of The Chamber of Secrets, where he magically throws Lucius Malfoy back after he threatens Harry. Lucius is armed and ready to cast a curse, yet Dobby reacts faster. This shows two things. First, Dobby can neutralize armed opponents. Second, his magic is not only defensive, but actively combat-ready. Now for combat experience. Gollum has actually killed. Even Smeagol's original murder of Deagol is proof that he can act lethally in direct physical conflict. He has survived orcs, endured torture by Sauron's servants, and prevailed time and again. Dobby, on the other hand, is never portrayed as an aggressive fighter. His actions are mostly aimed at escape or protecting others. But this is precisely where a subtle advantage lies. He does not need offensive combat experience when his magic keeps opponents at bay. The most likely scenario, taking into account all his documented abilities, would be as follows. Gollum attempts a surprise attack, as he did with Frodo. Dobby reacts instinctively, as he did at the Malfoy estate, with immediate teleportation. He could then magically repel or immobilize Gollum, similar to Lucius or Bellatrix. Gollum has never shown in any scene that he can free himself from an invisible, magical immobilization. His strength lies in his physicality, not in overcoming supernatural powers. Therefore, the balance of power clearly shifts. Without magic, advantage Gollum. With all the abilities shown, clear advantage Dobby. Not because Gollum is weak, but because the stories themselves show that house elf magic operates on a level that negates physical superiority. So the conclusion is, under realistic conditions, based on verifiable events from both universes, Dobby would win in most rounds of this duel. Gollum remains the more dangerous creature in the shadows. However, Dobby is, as evidenced by specific scenes, the more powerful creature in a direct confrontation. And that's exactly why this thought experiment is so exciting. If you want to see more theoretical fantasy duels like this, leave a like and subscribe to the channel.